Hi, Phantoms. I'm Jason.
And I'm Kyle. And we're Only Phantoms. We're a small paranormal team from Central North Carolina.
Welcome to the Phantom Files, where we discuss all things paranormal
and interview other investigators, as well as read encounters with paranormal submitted by you, our listeners.
So sit back and let's get spooky.
Ooh. So first and foremost, from Only Phantoms, thank you so much, Shawn, for joining us today. Would you mind go ahead and introduce yourself? What's your name and the name of your paranormal team, if you have one?
My name's Shawn. I am the founder of Afterlife Paranormal. I based out of Pennsylvania.
Okay. So is it just you? Are you a solo investigator?
Yeah, it's just me. I'm a solo investigator. I kind of blame my mom for this because she got me into all the ghost stuff and all that.
Okay.
Nice.
About how long ago did that start?
It started day after my birthday. It was my birthday gift. We lived right down from Gettysburg. So she took me to Gettysburg. We went investigating there. I fell in love with it. I've been doing it ever since for the past 2 years.
Oh, that's awesome. We've been doing it for the past 2 years as well, since my birthday in May.
Right?
Yeah.
Small world, yeah. You didn't want to do that. So, I mean, you mentioned that your mom did you like grow up watching a lot of ghost shows and movies and things like that? Was there any one particular thing maybe that had a influence on you?
The original Ghost Hunters. The early 2000 Ghost Hunters with Grant and all of them when they were still together.
Yeah.
That was like the mark. Like I remember watching them growing up, and then it's just always believed in it since.
Okay.
Definitely. It was a different time.
Yeah, definitely
was. Much different time.
Oh, the footage was so grainy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could help you believe a little more.
Yeah. So you said your mom got you into it. But what specifically was that driving spark that made you seek answers in paranormal?
So I'm like most people, there's always that question, what happens to us after death? You know, every religion and everything has their thoughts, their opinions, and I love looking for the answers. I love finding comfort in it and trying to help other people understand that it doesn't stop. It keeps going. And that's kind of what drives me to keep going and doing this and just helping people and even helping the spirits understand and everything like that.
Awesome. I'm assuming that's where you came up with the name of Afterlife Paranormal.
Exactly what I was going for.
Yep.
Nice. So, about how many locations have you been to that you've actually experienced paranormal activity at?
So I've done all the places this one company has in Gettysburg. I don't know how many times. I've been to Madison Seminary, and then I went to Pennhurst with my mom, and then all that stuff. So probably around 6 or 7.
Okay. That's nice.
Very nice.
So, out of those, which is your favorite place to visit?
There's this one place, they call it the Murder House. It's my top favorite place. It was the first place I ever investigated. Of course, that always holds dear to people's hearts, especially if you're an investigator. That's like you get your evidence, so you're curious. You don't understand it yet. And that's like before I got my equipment, and that just kind of drove it from there.
Okay. So, speaking of equipment, what kind of equipment do you personally carry with you?
So, I usually have the REM pod. I have a flux, the prism that does green and red for yes and no's and distance, and I have cat balls, K2, and the spirit box. Like I have a good bit of stuff.
Yeah,
it's just hard to keep up with. You don't know when to use it.
Well, that's the joy of having it all. It's just having a toolbox.
It really
have it just in case.
Yeah. And everything comes in useful in different circumstances. One of the things that I'm looking at getting myself is a flux. So that in and of itself would be very fun. I'm actually going to see if Angel can make one for us.
Dope.
That would be very dope.
Heck yeah. And now, do you have a favorite amongst any of those? Tough question, I know.
I would have to say the cat balls, because since that was like one of my first like equipment. Plus, with the K2, it's got to be cat balls. I've gotten a good bit of stuff from a schoolhouse here in Gettysburg with that.
Okay.
Some responses from it.
Okay.
That's pretty
So
awesome.
I want to delve more into the school. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So the school is it's called the McCurdy Schoolhouse. It's here in Gettysburg. It's through the same company, but it's just it was originally a small school, and of course, you had the Civil War and all that stuff, and also behind it was where the Confederate cavalry would have like a little base camp before going into town,
Okay.
and it was taken over from Union, Confederate, back and forth. So, and then there's some children's spirits there. It's kind of iffy, my memory with it, but from what I understand, there was a fire at one point because they used wood stoves and it got too hot in there with it, and fortunately, maybe a couple of them, and some of them, that was their family school that they built, and they come back to it. That was like home.
So, you keep saying that all these are run by the same company. Are you talking about are these public investigations that you go on, or is it a company that hosts them?
It's a public. So it's you okay if I drop the name of the company?
That's fine.
So it's called Gettysburg Ghost Tours. It's
okay.
I go through them a lot. I'm a regular there. Weirdly enough, they just keep asking me. I just need to go work there, but with my full-time job, it's a little hard to do that. So
I understand. Yeah.
But yeah, that's who I go through. I usually, when I get the weekend or something off, I try going down there. It's like $60 for the stream, which is 3 hours, 2 locations.
Okay,
not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we've been to several different locations here in North Carolina. We've been to Battleship, North Carolina, which, holy crap, it's expensive to rent, but it's worth it. Just to be on the battleship and have it completely to yourself, it is worth it.
It was a different experience, I gotta say.
Yeah. The Devil's Tramping Grounds is here in North Carolina, and we basically we know the owner, and we're able to go out there basically whenever we want, and we have a good time. We camp out for a couple nights and just have a blast.
Yeah, that's on there. The Devil's Tramping Grounds on my list to go because I'm originally from South Carolina.
Okay.
So, yeah, I've always grew up hearing stories about it and stuff like that.
Well, after the interview, if you want, I can actually send you the link so that way you could schedule your visitation down there with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So keep us in contact. We're there every year. It's a tradition.
that was our first place.
Yeah. So we definitely have we have a lot of history there. Deviating slightly from that, one thing he normally likes to answer, but I want to beat him to it. Are you a big fan of like aliens and cryptids? Those things are paranormal adjacent-ish, but kind of in that same vein.
So yes, I think Bigfoot more than any other cryptid. But my dad, when we lived in South Carolina, he keeps telling me this story. He said him and our neighbors, they went out fishing in this little area, and he said he swore he heard tree knocks.
Oh, nice.
So he said he's always wanted to get back. He's been trying to get me to do it. I told myself, I need to look more into it and figure out how to do it myself too. So, yeah, okay. I believe in all that. I think that's amazing. And like most people saying, we don't know the whole universe. Who knows what's out there, especially with all the stuff coming out recently with the government and all that. So yeah, who knows?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's actually a place around here where you can camp. It's Mount Medoc, which recently has been the site of some possible Bigfoot activity.
No, you're all into that. I do not know.
I'm not that into it.
I'm more interested in the alien stuff. You're saying aliens.
We're into the paranormal. You're into the aliens. We got people into cryptids. I'm down with it all. But yeah, so aside from Bigfoot, aside from Mount Medoc, there's also the Uwharrie National Forest here in North Carolina, where there's all sorts of paranormal activity between cryptids, aliens, and spooky spirits.
Oh yeah, I remember growing up hearing about the Gray Man that always appeared before a terrible storm. He was either a beacon of hope or warning or disaster before it happens.
Yeah, there was actually a sighting. If you go to Carolina's Unknown, one of their first things is you'll see the Gray Man of South Carolina. Yeah. And apparently he made an appearance during this last storm, which wasn't that bad.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why do I always learn something new when I do these with you? How much?
Because I learn something new every day, homie.
Jeez.
So, aside from that, what are your thoughts on psychics, mediums, and things of that nature? Parapsychology, things like that.
I'm a bit iffy. I'm one of those people like I have to be proving it, especially with that because anybody can go up and say, "Oh, there's something there," but it's more of one of those like I want somebody to grab me and tell me something only I know and no one else does type stuff and that kind of thing. Like I think that's something where there's like probably two, but it's Chip Coffee and the one off the Hoser Files.
Yeah,
Sydney.
Yeah,
I think Sydney. Those are the two that kind of I believe more than others. I would like to say.
So I got another question that kind of is partial to paranormal, but also to mediums and psychics and parapsychology and things of that nature. Have you ever heard of dicyanin glasses?
No, I have not.
So dicyanin is a blue chemical that you put between lenses, and it's apparently supposed to allow you to see auras or to also see into another dimension, basically allowing you to see paranormal activity. Now,
I think I know what you're talking about. I think I've seen them.
no, that's not it. Actually, that is it. Dicyanin, I think.
Oraga. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's
I feel
there. It is.
Yep.
DYCIN.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry,
I've never
we're
seen
on a Google search now to figure this out. Yeah, they're like $40-$50. You can buy them off of Amazon.
They're blue light filters.
Yeah,
that's whatever. Interesting. Well, people will come up with. I mean, that's been synonymous with the paranormal thing forever.
see, that's why I asked this question.
Yeah.
Because it's now synonymous with paranormal. It's also synonymous with
We've
psychics.
looked this up on our stream before.
We have?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I remember Aura glasses.
Okay.
Okay. That's what I know them by, the Aura glasses or goggles.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I suppose if you can't prove it's not there, you can get away with a lot.
Well, and that's also was his power persuasion
and
power suggestion.
Yeah.
All right. So, what kind of methods have you used personally on your investigations when you've gone and done these public investigations? Have you done like Estes method or Delco method or anything like that?
I haven't done the Estes method in Gettysburg, but I went to Madison Seminary for I guess it was more like a type like celebrity. If y'all know Kalani, the ghost hunter, he's on TikTok a lot and he does a lot of stuff.
I know the name, but I have not had any activity, correspondence with him.
But he had this event out. He hosted like a public hunt out at the Madison Seminary, and we did like a giant, I think 11 people Estes method.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and he said people were sounded like people were having conversations back and forth. He said he was getting some questions answered and stuff like that. I think that's the only one I've ever kind of done with the Estes method. So
okay.
Other than that, I do want to try Delco. I've been seeing a lot about that. I think that's pretty interesting.
It's very similar to the Estes method. It just uses the red light goggles in your eyes, which is supposed to help you hallucinate. I'm not exactly sure what it does. I want to talk to War Party Paranormal. They're the ones that created this
Yeah.
method,
Yep.
and see if they can better explain it.
I mean, if you want to hallucinate, I know some guys down by the river. Just kidding. We do not condone
No.
illicit method usage.
Yeah. Did you say method? Method
Yeah.
usage? Okay.
No crystal method.
All right. So since we talked about tech and different tools that we use, do you believe in any sort of protective objects like crystals, wards, holy symbols for another term?
So I do when I go. It's especially if it's a place I don't know much about. I normally wear a cross like I'm wearing now. It's black and I'm wearing a black shirt, so it's hard to see, kind of. But
Oh, we can see it in the
I wear it just to places I don't know. I don't know what's there. I haven't done no research. I'm one of those people. I want to get evidence and then kind of line it with what I've got.
Yeah. Okay. Have you ever been to any locations that you've not actually gotten any evidence from?
It's I like to look at it as like fishing. You can go to the same place. You might not get nothing the next day. Like it's a hit or miss. Like I went live on TikTok. Like I think it was the 28th of August or 20 nothing. I only got like a couple K2 hits and a couple things off the spirit box, but like it was just a quiet night. It was just
okay. I mean, we've done that as well. One of the last places we went to is reportedly haunted by over 70 different spirits, and we got nothing.
I like the fishing analogy, though. That is perfect way to put
that.
You know, you're pretty sure they're there.
Yep.
But they're just
they're just not biting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if you're doing like net casting, net cast fishing, like you might not get anything in your net the first time. Yep. Eventually you might, but
yeah.
Doesn't
mean there are no alligators in that water.
No.
There were alligators in the water at the battleship.
There
was one.
They're close to the beach, close enough.
Yep.
A little far away from Florida, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of
alligators in North Carolina. You know that, right? Like not just right there, but yeah. Right. Like we literally have rivers called Alligator River because there are alligators in the river. Okay.
This Florida man hadn't seen them, so I don't know.
Okay, well, we'll go to the beach sometime and you'll see them.
I do want some gator tail, man. If we find them, I'm going to hunt them.
All right, sounds good to me.
This is the kind of sidebar we get to. So apologies in advance.
Oh, you're good.
So, since you believe in protective objects, do you also believe in haunted objects? Like a spirit can glom onto an object itself, or
I do. I feel like if they're well enough attached to it, say it's like, for instance, like it's your grandmother's ring she passed. That was her favorite thing. And that's what you use or have with you. I believe they could, stay with it and be able to use it to come see you every now and then, check in on you type stuff. Like if it's their favorite thing type.
So like a very sentimental item.
Yeah, like it has meaning to them. Like a bear, sadly, like say some kid passed early and that was the bear they had the whole time. That's what they're going to be attached to type stuff. Like that was there with them every day. It was sentimental to them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you think that can go the opposite way too with on our bad events as well? Like someone experiences something horrifying and that can attach onto an item that way.
Like a traumatizing event or a traumatizing emotion attached to it.
Yeah, I feel like especially if something bad enough happened to an area, that energy just finds somewhere type. Like it either lingers or it moves. I feel like that could be a possible thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely
let's preface this because I know the story you're about to tell. let's preface this with
I'm just going straight to the point. You can
okay,
preface
there's a
it.
paranormal phenomenon known as orbs. What are your thoughts on those?
So, out of everything I've ever recorded off my phone, I feel like I've only ever got one. And it's very prominent. I've been looking for a video, but it's at the schoolhouse. I'm recording a doorway. I physically saw something white at the top of the corner with my eyes, like something went out and back. And then on the video, when I rewatch it, there's something at the bottom of the doorway that kind of curves. It doesn't just fall like dust. It's a big orb compared to that corner of the doorway, and it just goes around and just slowly dissipates.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah. I was bringing that up mostly just talk about not necessarily orbs,
Well,
but I mean that can be there. But you mentioned the energy manifesting. One of our probably you could consider our second or third investigation. We investigated a haunted Airbnb, and then is when I started to kind of really start to believe a little bit more in like just in general, just like energies being left behind. Because first we got really somewhat random spikes with that EMF
oh yeah,
everywhere. And I mean full on spikes, not little pitter patter twos. I mean full bore.
full bore straight to a 5,
Yeah.
4 and 5.
The host he had a theory about it as well. But toward when we're at the end of it, going over all the evidence, we had one for sure that I am pretty certain was if there's a textbook definition for orb, this had to have been it. And I'm the number one skeptic. I don't even think orbs exist. Not so sure now, but but just in general, it's kind of got me to think that yeah, you're very right because they're very under any circumstance, emotion is energy. We shout, we cry,
Yep.
we love. There is a lot of energy given out there in some form or another. We may not always see it, and some places maybe it just likes to gather. I feel like that was something there, and maybe it could be something to do with these items. Bringing it all the way back.
All the way back to the items.
Definitely. I feel that way, especially like that's mostly what I feel like residual is because you hear running up and down the stairs. It's considered residual. That's somebody's home that used to be there. That's what they used to do. They go up and down the stairs. Same with you thought you heard somebody talking. Oh, well, somebody might have just was talking. It might just be a playback. That's what they consider it. Like hitting rewind and pressing play again.
Funny enough, yeah, that's what I forgot his name from Stroudhouse. Kind of, he related it to
Bone tape theory.
Yeah, kind of like a recording on a tape.
Yep.
Yeah, just going back and eventually going back and playing again and again. That tape may degrade over time. It gets static, but that's cool.
That is cool.
Another little sidetrack. But speaking of sidetrack, what do you do? You mentioned, like yourself, it's kind of like fishing where you're not always going to get a bite. How do you kind of handle yourself or react when you're not getting anything if you go out?
I always try to be respectful, but also from being from the South and especially being in a heavy Union territory, sometimes it doesn't correlate and you either be told to leave or something or stuff like that. But other than that, I feel like the soldiers don't talk to me as much until I kind of explain to them what's going on, and then it's just hit or miss. I try to be as respectful as I can because those were people too, and they still have feelings. Who knows?
Yeah.
People's been scratched. People's done this. It could not even be something like people. I hear the term demon thrown around a lot.
That was actually going to be another question we asked here in a bit.
Oh,
was your thoughts on the term demon or
the skinwalkers
on YouTube videos, to be able to for clickbait.
So I I took this term lightly because it's the way a woman referred to it as Master Seminary. Because there was a tour beforehand about the history. She was talking about this one spirit or individual there. Like I think at the bottom part of it was like a prison type thing. They work on the property and they were housed there. And she said, I believe if you were a-hole in life, you're a-hole in death. And if you're mean, you're mean in death. That's just how you were.
Yeah.
And, somebody says something wrong to you, you're going to react differently than somebody else would.
I agree with that. And a lot of people are misconstruing that and are trying to say, oh, it's a demon.
Yeah.
And not only that, but we probably appear as demons to them too.
Yep.
You thinking some 150, 200 years in the future, we're speaking, acting, and moving in ways that they never thought were possible, respectful, or otherwise. It's a big culture shock. I can imagine at the very least.
That person's talking into a box. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Why is he asking us to talk into the box? Jeez, are these guys mental?
I think that every time someone gets ready for like an EVP or something, I'm just like, I wonder how they're gonna what are they thinking if someone's there seeing this?
Talking to the box.
Someone's talking to a stick. Is that a rock in their hand?
Why is that glowing? What is it? Yeah,
why does it have light? There's nothing attached to it. There's no wires. What's going on?
There's no switch.
Right. I will say, I mean, someone did have the theory that some spirits. I'm kind of curious what you guys think. This depending. I mean, it really depends on how you view spirits. But someone had mentioned, that if these are truly spirits, they've been here this whole time. Do you think that they really would be, just as clued into the tech and everything that's going on with us, or at least by proxy, seeing everything? What if they actually do know how to make your phone butt dial or something?
That's
because they've seen it and they've observed.
Yeah, that would have to be an intelligent haunt. That could not be a residual haunt. That would have to be an intelligent haunt. One of the things that I was told before we went to Trevette Clinic was that the doctor who founded the Trevette Clinic was a very intelligent and curious person, and would like.
Which was our last hunt, by the way.
Yeah, it was our last hunt. But would like to interact with all of our gadgets. Well, we still got nothing. But we had been told that by someone who's extremely reputable. With the Trevette Clinic, wrote a book on it. Her name is Alex Matsuo. She's actually recently wrote another book about women in the paranormal, the history of women in the paranormal, or something along that line. You can find her on Amazon. Yep. There you go. She also goes by the Spooky Stuff on Instagram. But yeah.
That sounds familiar. I might actually be following her I might be. That sounds familiar.
So what are your thoughts on that? Do you believe that spirits can also be curious and interact with objects and learn from that as well?
I believe, especially if they, some of them, they're probably scared it might hurt them. And I normally start off these devices here, these objects I have, they're just here to show me that you're here. They're here to help you answer us. I feel like you kind of walk them through it. You set up a REM pod, you show them see, it's not going to hurt you. It just lights up. It just shows the closer you get, the more it lights up. It just shows me, and you can answer with it.
So here's an idea that I just had. What if we're wrong?
That's a good point.
I've
heard that
touching
too.
The objects could actually hurt them by draining their energy.
Oh,
I've heard that too. I've heard that's what I love about just the paranormal community in general. There's always theories. No one's always right. It's like testing, it's experiments. Yeah, but that's I've heard that before too on public hunts. People's but do we know? And we always say we don't. But it's just our guess now because we're not definitive yet.
Yeah, that's why we're a pseudoscience currently.
Yep.
Currently.
Yeah, currently. Oh, man.
It's our goal to change that one day.
Eventually.
We'll
That's a big goal, but That's definitely something. Oh
Indeed.
man.
Let's see. Oh, now have you, while you're out and about, have you ever seen a shadow person or apparition? Um, Mention that it ever seen gray man, something like that, or I've heard of gray man, hat man, shadow
I mean,
man.
I've told you about my very first experience was a shadow person, so that
I
scared the hell out of
think
me.
mine wasn't that wasn't my very first experience with it, but my very first one was in that murder house. I think like 2 weeks later, I saw plain as day out the corner of my eye, I saw a woman, all like it was all black, like just a shadow go by, and you could tell it was a woman, just the way the body was, and you saw like hair in the back. And she walked straight through to a lighted living room because this is an apartment type area, and I went in there and I was looking because I was curious, and I asked the guys like, "Hey," because we had females in the group with us, and I said, "Did any of the girls from downstairs come or upstairs come downstairs recently?" It's like, "No, we haven't seen them." You look around, the room's like open. You would have seen them either because there's two ways in and out of that room.
Yeah.
So like that threw me for a curveball, and I feel like that and hearing like EVPs and stuff, and then hearing stuff with your own ears is amazing too. Those are the ones that get me the most. To kind of run a chill up down my spine.
Speaking of that, have you ever had an experience that actually scared you? If so, what was your scariest
Um,
experience?
so I had one in the farmhouse, and it's off Culp's Hill in Gettysburg. It's well known as a battlefield hospital, and there's this it's 3 floors, first floor, second attic. There's this one room in there I always go to, and there's always this entity. His name's George. I People would pinpoint him from Oregon, being a soldier for the Union. And then I was sitting, getting my back against the wall, facing a closet. I can't even fit in there. Like if I stand there sideways, you'll see half my body. I seen something pop out. I saw like a head and like two white eyes, like glowing, and it went away. And I tried my best to figure out what it was because there's a vent that was above me. I shined my light. I had somebody in there sit where I was at. I could not figure it out. I'm convinced to this day that I saw probably George up in that closet trying to give me a heart attack or something. Just tell me I need to go home.
Okay.
Did anything freaky happen after that, or do you think this is
um,
more or less isolated?
I think that one, nothing else freaky after that happened. I think like literally that weren't like right before we left to go to another location since we were only in there for like an hour and a half to two. So that was like right before we left. Like it was like the last big moment. He done that, and I didn't have much time because I had to pack up and we had to head to the next one.
Fair
I
enough. Yeah.
have, yeah, and like EVPs there. I feel like those are cool. I have one on the YouTube channel that I have. I put it up there because I have it on my phone. It's going to be in my phone forever until the thing breaks or corrupts. But it's at the murder house. We heard asking people upstairs, like asking if anybody's upstairs. We hear talking, and you can hear a yeah, but it's not like a regular woman just saying yeah. It's yeah, like you hear like an echo behind it, like it's up
Okay.
and down type voice, and it's like it doesn't sound like real. So like you're just kind of like, huh, like because we were all downstairs, no one
Yeah.
was upstairs, and he's like, we keep hearing somebody, a man and woman talking, and so he put it on a windowsill, like right above the steps, and we all were downstairs doing spirit box, asking questions.
Okay. Um. So, all right. So you've been to all these different locations in Pennsylvania. Do you have any locations that are on your bucket list? Your paranormal bucket list.
Mhm.
So I have sat down one day and written all the locations I want to go to. I have been to the Lizzie Borden house.
Oh.
I went and done the ghost tour and ghost hunt that same night. That was pretty cool. But that was on the list, so that got crossed off. But I feel like Waverly.
List.
I
I
was
feel
wondering
like
what you're pulling up there. But please go on. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
please go on.
Forgive him.
I'll
he's
show you
being
something in a
rude.
minute.
But Waverly Hills is somewhere I would like to go. I've hate to say this, I'm throwing my mom out there under the bus, but she has threatened me that she has to go with me if I go, because that's her dream location too, because it's massive. That's
Yeah.
like a ghost hunter's dream there. It's like one of the most haunted places in the world. Like, it's just top tier. Everyone's been there, ones that got lucky enough to get there.
Yeah. I mean, we could rent the place out, but it's expensive.
Yeah.
And it is at the top of everybody's list. And I know there's already like a year waiting list, I think.
Yeah, because I look at it every now and then. I'm like, okay, like maybe prices have dropped like one day, and I could just got it.
So speaking of bucket lists, this is just North Carolina. Oh man,
It's
close to you. There you go.
This is just North Carolina. I've got like 70 something locations just in North Carolina.
See, the battleship is something I've thought about going to, because when I was on a field trip, I've heard about that, all the ghost shows and stuff, but like I didn't even know you could rent it out to have it to yourself until
I contacted
last year. Yeah, see, I didn't even know that was possible.
Oh yeah, it's expensive. There is a limit on how many people you can have with you, and the price goes up if you go beyond that limit per person.
Yeah,
it is a little pricey, but it is well worth it. Sorry, I keep hitting your knee with mine. We're playing kneesies over here, and just
oh god.
But it is well worth it. We had a lot of activity in the warrant officer's room, and Kyle here is putting together a video. I was trying to say editing, but putting together a video for YouTube. It's going. Hopefully, it'll be a long form video. If not, that's fine. It's just what we can get together for now.
Yeah,
but
we're working on some content there. We're pulling videos from a couple of different. We had a few different partner teams with us, and we're kind of collaborating with some stuff there. So it will come. Yeah. But yeah, very much recommend, if at all possible, try that. And if you're close enough, I mean, just the day tour, yes,
the unguided day tours are fine. They're fantastic.
They're still fun.
Yeah, when I went to Fall River, I got there a little too early, because like when I looked it up the night before at my hotel, it said, "Oh, it'll be a 2-hour drive from." Because I went to Salem originally, and then I realized Lizzie Borden's house, just bed and breakfast, just down the road. So it was like a last minute thing. Like, I'm like, I got to go. I already been to Salem. I walked around Salem. I'm like,
how was Salem?
Go. Oh, I loved it. I mean, I went for my birthday, so I went like March. So it was wasn't fall, and I ordered pizza, and the dude told me, he said, "You came at the wrong time." Like, he's like, fall's like, I said, I know, but this is the time I had off. Everyone else, I didn't even think about it until then.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. If everybody knows that the Northeast in the fall is the time to go,
oh yeah,
you don't want to go in the fall. That way you can have areas to yourself. Yeah, like, everybody knows, like, Massachusetts is like the place to be in the fall because it's so gorgeous.
Oh yeah, when I went up there, it even leaves or not, it was beautiful. It was amazing. I took more or less the back road. I didn't take the toll road. I loved the whole ride. It was through the mountains. It was up and around New York, the mountains of New York, not through the cities. It was through the country part. It was an amazing, beautiful ride. I took photos, some videos of it.
So tell us about your time at the Lizzie Borden house.
Mm-hmm. So Lizzie Borden house, we did the ghost tour first, and that was pretty weird among itself, just learning the history and then the story of how they went through the case and what she ended up doing afterwards, and that she's got a signed photo from every person in the jury. They took a photo and signed it and gave it to her. Like, and I think, if I'm not wrong, I think it's hung up or in the house somewhere, because they have a lot of photos in there from that. Like, they have photos of what was his name? I can't remember the father's name. I
don't remember his name either.
But like, the dad, the dad and the stepmom, they have photos of what they look like too.
Oh
which is
wow.
pretty. It's pretty like gnarly to look at. It's not.
Honestly, I'm
They
gonna have to
even
research that
yeah.
more.
Yeah, they told you it's like they're like if you're not good with the gore and stuff like that, it's like you don't need to look at this. They even got at the end of it, we went down to the basement, which they're also at that time they were turning into another extra room, which is also rumored to have a darker entity in the basement, more shadow esque person, but he's
Okay.
known to crawl along the
Ooh.
floors. And I was waiting for the ghost hunt, so I was with the guy, and the dude at that time, he ended up actually he was telling me his grandmother and aunt started that place up as the bed and breakfast in like the early 90s.
Oh
And
my god.
it got bought, and he said that yeah, he was telling me all this stuff, and then I had to ask, has anybody seen anything in the basement? He said, I've been told. I had a woman going up to her room. This door was open to the basement. He said she looked down. She said there was something all fours just sitting there looking at her with red eyes, just
Ooh.
looking at her. I'm
Always
like,
red
oh,
eyes, man.
yeah. It's
Oh, I
always
mean,
it's never normal. It's never a normal color. It's always red. It's always
so remember
Sith eyes.
when we went to the Devil's Tramping Grounds, one of the first times Sterling was talking about how he saw red eyes over the fire before he passed out.
I, I mean, people said a lot of things when they're half asleep, but
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see if we see anything. So far,
but
we haven't caught
yeah.
anything on trail cams, but always a fun place
Yeah,
to go.
but that was pretty cool. The ghost hunt, I actually ended up that kind of sparked me because like I said, I did the Gettysburg thing, and I'm like, okay, like I didn't know if I was going to actually go through with it because it's been a thing I've been wanting to do for a while, and I never could think of a name. I could never. That kind of sparked the interest in me creating. Like right before I left, I created a logo, but I weren't ready to, go out and about with it. Like I just had sketched up an idea.
Yeah,
Like this is my new logo now, but I like I told like you said like you knew right off when I told you why I kind of do this and stuff. You're like that explains Afterlife Paranormal
yeah.
because
Mhm.
that's just what it came down to. Because going there, it was just something else. It's one of those things where you're like, oh man, like this is like an amazing place, and hearing the stories and people don't know, and people are still trying to get the correct answer for that case because it's still a cold case. It was never confirmed that it was her or anybody else. Some say it was the uncle. Like it's yeah,
Whew, that
like
is
it's
wild.
That's
there's a lot of theories behind that place, and it's
Yeah,
just one of those like, will we ever find out the answer type situation? Who knows? You got all these documentaries, you got all these I don't know what you call them. I guess whatever a show would be. I guess replicating it in a way, just different theories.
yeah.
Like I know there was two. One where
Docudramas.
yeah,
it's good to
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Yeah, I
kind
think
of
that's
like
what they're
that.
called, docudramas.
Yeah, I've seen. I haven't watched them, but I've read the synopsis on them. I know one's about her and the maid being lovers and stuff like that, and they were just doing that. Just yeah, it's a whole. There's a bunch of theories, and it gets out of hand sometimes.
Wow.
History is
Yeah,
fascinating.
yeah. That place was always just a top. That was like I think the actual first one on my list, so that was just a no brainer. I had to go while I was near there.
Honestly, man, that's on my bucket list too. And if I ever get the chance, that's where I'm going.
I do plan on at some point here. I do want to try getting the place all by myself because I know because it would be cool to go there in October, of course. But he said that's when it's all booked out. He said October. He says all booked out. He said you have to do like a year in advance
Yeah.
to even get October.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Most
yeah,
definitely. That is something that happens. Same with us in the Devil's Tramping Ground.
Yeah, you
We
gotta book months in advance to be able to get it near October.
see. All right. So
I was actually getting contacted by
oh
the
yeah,
owner the other day. She was like, are you sure you guys want that weekend? I'm like, yeah, we want that weekend. We've wanted that weekend, for 6 months, but something happened, and yeah, we want that weekend. She's like, okay, because everybody else wants every weekend around it. I'm like, I know.
Right, yeah. That's why we're trying to get in there. All right. So we're getting on about our scheduled time, but we're gonna wrap up. We got one more here for you if you got the time. First and foremost, let me make sure I got the right one here. Yeah. So, oh yeah. So, have you ever come across a haunted location that you were pretty much sure was like a hoax, or maybe that was possibly set up, set dressing, or just something was off about it? Like someone was trying this to set up something to react in a way. I don't know if you've ever had any experience with that.
So, I don't know if I have an experience with it, but I have some. I don't really have a place in mind since I'm still exploring other places outside of Pennsylvania. I'm trying to think of one that I had in mind because I weren't sure about it, but I can't remember what it was. To be all honest with you, but like I'm not sure about some of the haunted museums because you got it's just objects. It's just who really knows like. But like,
I've got my
Funny
opinions
you mentioned that.
of at least one.
definitely,
It's-
definitely, yeah. That's a pretty hyped one, ain't it?
Well, no. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about
Oh,
so
oh,
there. I won't say the name of the place because I don't want anything to happen.
yeah.
But currently, that place is possibly closing. Um,
Oh,
so we went there and to this location, and we believe that it may have been fabricated due to a lot of the different things that we were getting, and we started suspecting issues with EMF and with our REM pods and with all of our recording devices. So we had to start looking through these cordoned off areas for antennas and Bluetooth devices that might be sending signals, basically anything. And we're pretty sure we found antennas in a few things.
yeah.
that
Because
shouldn't have really been there.
Yeah,
I mean, a walkie-talkie you set off a REM pod.
it
Like,
can. But
yeah.
this was a one room location. There are no walkie
Oh
talkies in a
God.
one room location.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Um, Also, all of our EMFs were spiking straight to 5 at all times. And this was in a concrete building. We go outside and there's power lines right over the building. We're like, okay, so that we're not
Yeah.
getting EMF. Not going to happen. Um, Cat balls were going off, here and there a little bit, but it wasn't you couldn't get a response. Like if you asked it to touch the cat ball, you
Yeah.
could not get a response to that. But it would just randomly turn on. So it could have been something with the floors, maybe. It could have been something else. Um,
It just makes you wonder.
it makes you wonder
Yeah.
about places. Um, Maybe they're trying to hype up things to be able to get more business, but it's
Yeah.
just
There's
like I
a
said.
good
I'm
bit
not
of
going.
places that do it. Yeah.
I'm not going to say the name of the place until things happen, and if things happen the way I think they are, then I'll mention the name of the place.
But yeah, that is something that we will consider going forward. You hate to think that people are profiting off that kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, you got to
That's
profit
the
off.
field we're in.
You got to profit off something nowadays to survive.
Yeah.
So I get that. Awesome.
Yeah. Definitely. Like I got one place, Franklin County Jail. I got a call with them. I emailed them because it said email for like bookings and stuff, and I've yet for the paranormal stuff because weirdly enough, they do have some people like some YouTube videos on their site for it that just says like it's haunted, and I'm pretty curious because I'm like it's near home, and I'm like okay, I do want to check that out. Kind of
Okay.
like it's not far, so it's like. I just want to see for myself more or less, but I don't know.
All right. So
Yeah, is that Franklin County in South Carolina? You said,
No, this is in
or is it in
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania? Okay.
Yeah,
there's like a Franklin County in every state.
yeah.
So I mean, the names get thrown around a
Yeah.
lot, so I wasn't quite
Oh,
sure.
definitely.
So it has been an awesome time having you. We basically run out of questions, and we love your stories so far, man. If you could, email us all your different links, or not
Yeah.
email us, but send them to me on Instagram.
Just send them everything. We're going to have them all posted down here in the description. Just a quick shout out. Where can we find you? Where are you most prominently on social media wise?
So right now, I mean, of course, y'all found me on Instagram. I'm on
Yep.
TikTok too, and I got a YouTube channel which I posted, I think, 2 videos right now. I'm actually working on ideas for next year or the end of this year to into next year. Locations I want to try getting multiple people to go with.
Awesome. Hey, if we're ever up in Pennsylvania and around Gettysburg, we'll definitely give you a call and see if you can help us out.
Oh yeah, there's some places out there. They're nice. It's beautiful out here, especially kind of like Massachusetts. It's nice during the fall.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful. Shawn, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward. This episode will go live in about 2 weeks, so can't wait to see you then. And thanks so much for coming on
Absolutely.
the Phantom
Yep.
Files.
And
No problem.
again, we're going to just shout out your name again. This is Shawn from Afterlife Paranormal. Thank you very much, man.